that's a deep subject. What do I think? I will say that we lost a giant. We lost a giant in Greenwood here. Lots of people's lives were touched by this man. And of course, who am I talking about? Len Borneman. He died on November 10th of this year, and just was involved in so much, was involved in moving so many things forward in our community. Came here, was from St. Louis and ended up right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. And he, of course, worked for Monsanto and brought so much to this area. He was one that jumped in and got really involved, and he, as it says in his obituary, after retiring from Monsanto, Len embarked on a second career that reflected his deep love for community, serving for 10 fulfilling years as executive director of the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce, whose building was later named for him, the Borneman Center for Community Excellence, in honor of his successful tenure. In his role, he championed local businesses, economic development with unmatched energy and vision. Of course, he was involved in so many other activities. I think the big thing, though, that Len did was people development. People development. He helped so many people find a direction that were working in the chamber, working as all aspects of helping grow our community. And I think that was maybe one of those things that you don't name a building after it. You don't get a lot of kudos, but the very fact that these people know that Len Borneman gave them the direction, showed them the way on how to think, and he developed people. And I think that is one of the greatest gifts that he gave, along with all the others, not taking away from those, but this may be a gift that is not so much talked about, but is one that people always, when they talked of Len Borneman, they always talked about his what he did, how he showed them, these type of conversation. And as you see all the comments coming in on Facebook, you know that a lot of people were touched by his life and his experience. So I just wanted to mention him because he was a titan in our community. There are a lot of people who do a lot of great things in our community. Some people go way above and beyond, and their fingers are in not only one avenue, but they spread it across, and they're able to help our community develop. So I just wanted to say, rest well, Len Borneman. You did a great job of helping bridge the gap from past to the present and going forward to the future. So that's it's hard to see. For me, and particularly for me, because I've been around for a long time. I remember, and that's the other thing. I still have a mind. I still remember stuff. Anyways, that's why I have WCRS. We can remember stuff. There's the other side of it. We can't remember stuff also. But, anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. We are live right here on the radio, 98.5 FM, 1450 AM. We also are live on Facebook Live at WCRS Radio. So this is where we're at here this morning. We were talking earlier today about our veterans and how much great kudos they are getting on Veterans Day. And I did make the point that it is not just about Veterans Day, it's every day. And we had a comment come in that said, and they need to continue this. We're talking about the thanking and this type of thing. These younger people have no idea what the veterans have done. They are no longer going outside to lower and raise the flag. So many traditions have been lost. And that is true. That is so true. Traditions that, where you had to go and now it's okay, and I think the thing about it, the convenience aspect of it. So they decided, I don't know when this was decided because I thought it was so wrong there for a while, that we could leave flags up overnight. Why have to take them down every night when we're just going to have to put them up the next day, right? That's what they kind of came up with. And I think they came up with, if there was a light shining on the flag, then we could leave it up overnight. Now, I don't know who came up with this idea, right? I don't know where that came from. But why wouldn't we have a flag that is, why did we quit that? Well, because it was inconvenient, Anne, to have to do this. I guess. I mean, I don't really know. I guess I could ask that question maybe and find out. But isn't that odd that those little things when you were growing up and having to have, and it was a special honor if you got to be able to put the flag up and you had to salute, right? When you put the flag up, and it always took two people, and you had to make sure. Oh my God, make sure that it did not touch the ground. And then we see things like our Marines or at any funeral, how when they're presenting the flag, how they fold that flag in a very specific way and they give it to the widow or the mom. So it is kind of a dichotomy of how we deal with this. But I guess I just don't understand why, in fact, I was trying to find out the answer. I heard a quick blip here this morning about that President Trump wants to rename Veterans Day to Victory Day. And it had something to do with World War One vets, or with World War One. And what is that all about? I don't really know. Does anybody else know? I'm trying to find out right now. My system's moving kind of slow. Somebody might say, well, when you leave as many windows as you leave open, Anne, it does kind of affect things. But so I'm hoping I can get an answer on that, because I don't understand why he wants to rename it. I could understand why we might have a separate day that honors. I heard it was to honor our World War One veterans, or the World War One, the war that was supposed to end all wars, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm trying to get some information on that. My trusty assistant is not working very well this morning, so we will move on and talk about some of the other topics that I wanted to talk about. What did you think about the BBC? That's what I want to know. The BBC, in case you didn't know, took President Trump's speech from back on January 6th, what was that, 2021, took his speech that he said before the riots and everything. He talked about walking peacefully down to the Capitol, and blah, 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 and they changed it to, and we will fight, fight, fight. Well, somewhere in that speech was a part of that, but they were like, I think 45 minutes, 50 minutes apart. Well, they just bridged it together to make it sound like Trump said they were going to walk down to, not peacefully, they were going to go down there and fight, fight, fight. Well, that is totally wrong. Totally wrong. That it wasn't said anywhere close to like that. But the BBC, a supposed trusted news source from England, did this. I guess that shows you what? I guess that shows you. If the BBC is willing, and what dog in the fight did they have? Was it just to get clicks? I guess so. Because there is no logical reason why they did this that I can think of. Now, two of the higher-ups in their organization, I think the CEO and somebody else, have been let go. They're no longer with the organization. But I don't think anybody has truthfully explained what happened. Now, I think President Trump has given them till Friday to retract and apologize for this, or he's going to sue them. In a Laura Ingraham interview the other night, he said, yes, I think I'm going to have to sue them. But we will see what happens there. But I thought that is fascinating. Why a news organization that wasn't even here in the United States, and as President Trump said, yes, and that's supposed to be one of our best allies. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. Do you have any comments about that? That's just bizarro. That goes under bizarro news here. And here's what I have to say to the BBC. Shame on you. Shame on you. And it's a doggone shame. I still like that clip. But yeah, isn't it a shame that we still have this bias in the media. And I would think with as much money that Trump has collected from these news organizations, that any of them that were out there would be cleaning up their act. You know, if you can scrub somebody's whole person off the web, surely a news organization scrub some of this stuff. Although I know plenty of people, when something comes up that they go, whoa, this is bad, they're quick to download it, quick to keep it, because they never know what's going to happen with it. Would you say that is true? Yes, I would say that is true. All right. Well, anyways, it doesn't seem like we are going to find out about this Victory Day thing, but I think that this BBC thing is going to be very interesting. And, you know, how is this going to impact their credibility? Or is it just going to make them more credible because they did this thing? I think, you know, where do people get their ideas that what they're doing is a righteous thing? If you're supposed to be a reporter, you're supposed to be straight down the middle. Now, people say to me, oh, man, you're in the media, you're a reporter. The joy of my job is I am not a reporter. I am a talk show host. So I can talk about all sides of the issue because I am a talk show host. So I just wanted to mention that one this morning as far as something that was important for us to discuss. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is today. Supposedly, the shutdown is going to end. Do you believe it? I certainly hope that we do get to the point of getting this open. And what is going to happen with paychecks? I did hear that the air traffic controllers are going to be paid 70% once the government is open within a few days. I guess it'll take them a few more days to go back and calculate it all, but they will get 70% within a few days. If Congress votes to reopen the government on Wednesday, it already has passed the Senate. It is going to the House. There is supposed to be a vote this afternoon. And it says, here's what is expected to happen. To food stamps, flight delays, missed paychecks, the Obamacare tax credits, and the economy at large. So this is a big deal. And, of course, what they're talking about is it's going It took 40 plus days to get to this point. So where are we going to be at? So the Senate voted 60-40 on the November 10th to advance temporary funding measure that consists of a clean stopgap bill that finances most federal agencies. It's now been moved through January 30th. See, we lost 40-some days. And so that will continue to fund the government through the entire fiscal year of 2026. It says giving appropriations times to come up with long-term bills to fund the government the entire fiscal year through 2026. So they'll have a period of time to get this worked out, and it says through January 30th. Will that happen? Who knows? It includes 3 full-year appropriations bill wrapped into one minibus, which covers the Department of Agriculture, Department of Veterans Affairs, Military Construction, the Food and Drug Administration, and the legislative branch. The House is expected to pass the legislation. That would be today, with Donald Trump indicating he will sign it. So that is a good thing. Roughly 1.25 million federal employees have missed paychecks since October 1st. Once Trump signs the bill into law, agencies will recall furloughed staff as soon as practical and begin issuing back pay for the entire shutdown period as required under the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019. That law guarantees retroactive pay to both furloughed and accepted workers who stayed on the job without pay. The Senate-approved measure also reverses layoffs ordered via reduction in force notices issued during the shutdown and pauses new one through the funding window, stabilizing federal employment rolls after weeks of uncertainty. We have 1.25 million federal workers. Does anybody think we might have a few too many? Gosh almighty. I mean, if you just take that as a part of the thing, and then the hurt to the economy over this period of time, I think this is going to, I think even though the Democrats were standing on their health care issue, and that's why they would not open the government, they really have been instrumental in hurting the Trump economy, and we will probably see that in upcoming weeks and even months from now, what this did. So it says federal contractors, those independent contractors, however, are not covered. While contract work can resume immediately, contract employees will not receive compensation for missed work, making the shutdown's financial toll permanent for thousands. So now let's talk about the economic impact. This is the other part. The 40-day lapse left a mark on the economy already strained by higher interest rates and other factors. Flights were canceled, government contracts were delayed, and some food aid recipients saw their benefits disrupted. I think a lot of people saw their food benefits disrupted. It says, much of the lost economic, this is from the Epoch Times, much of the lost economic activity will be recovered as operations resume and workers receive back pay. But the Congressional Budget Office estimates about $11 billion in economic output will be permanently lost, canceled trips and deferred purchases that won't be made up. It says, although most of the decline in real GDP, gross domestic product, will be recovered eventually, the Congressional Budget Office estimates between $7 and $14 billion in 2025 dollars will not be. The agency said adding that fourth quarter GDP will be lower than it would have been in the absence of the shutdown. See, this is what I've been talking about constantly. Every time that we did this, I thought that not paying the SNAP benefits would have an adverse effect. I thought the states that did go ahead, like Louisiana and even Virginia, Massachusetts maybe, but several of the states did go ahead and pay those SNAP benefits, were smart to do so to keep their economies moving. I think South Carolina is going to pay a price for it. And of course they can say, well, it was the shutdown, we're not responsible. But you were responsible. You had the ability to solve this problem. And that's one of the things that grinds my gears. People that have the ability to solve a problem, but decide to look the other way and not do something about it. People that have a negotiation where they could ask for more or make their desires better known about the future of whatever you are dealing with and remain silent. And then 2 years down the road or whatever, they're saying, well, this doesn't really work. And yet they had the ability to negotiate. That is one of the things that President Trump has the ability. He is a negotiator. He is able to see what the future effect of doing A or B will mean to in his personal life, in his business, but I think in the United States, in the future of how our country, one, will be perceived, but two, how it will fare with dealing with issues. So we've got the economy to look at and see, and then that will become an asterisk. Not our fault. Let's see, here we go. Not our fault. The Democrats did a shutdown, and it caused the economy to falter. Something like that is what it'll be. Oh, that's right. You're listening to WCRS on the radio, and you're listening on Facebook Live or watching on Facebook Live. It says, healthcare subsidy fight postponed. I really don't know what is the right answer on this, or if there is a right answer. One thing is for sure. The cost of healthcare is too darn expensive. That is for sure. But is it not become too expensive because there were subsidies and there were all these ways around it that they didn't seem to care about the costs? Are these costs actually something that are real costs? I think these are some of the questions. I mean, I don't doubt that when a hospital or a doctor's office says, well, this test costs this and this test costs that, I don't doubt that the cost, but why did they get to those costs would be my question. The Obamacare was supposed to help make it healthcare affordable for everyone, but you can almost liken this to the price of college, universities, higher education. Because we've loaned so much money and grants or college loans were so easy to get, colleges said, we can charge more. We can get more money. And then it put it on the backs of those that were trying to go to college to get that education. In fact, I don't know if you were listening on this great station, WCRS, there was an article about how colleges have looked at the fact that there were all these opportunities for students to get money, so they kept upping their costs and then discounting it to make it look like, oh, it's such a deal, such a deal. We, the American public, are crazy people. We always are looking for the deal. And so was Jeff Eller. Oh, that's a deal, Ann. We got to buy that. I had to tell you a quick story about that. It's because I've been on memory lane this last few weeks. And it kind of does relate. Jeff was a great buyer. I mean, he was an extraordinary buyer. And I can remember being at a show early in our life, and you may remember those little princess rings that had either a diamond, or they started out, they were oval, kind of like a football sideways, and they were called princess rings. And they had a diamond in the center, and then they had lots of little diamonds around them if they were really nice. If they were the cheaper version, they got down so they had one little chip in the center. Well, we were at an antique show, and a guy had accumulated over the years, I don't know, 40 or 50 of them. And Jeff was out there. He was bored. We weren't doing any business, so he was out talking on the floor, talking to this guy, came up with that there was this terrific deal that he had just gotten, and he needed to write a check for this. And I was like, well, what'd you buy? And he shows me, and they're like, I don't know, 40 or 50 of these little princess rings. I said, what the heck are you buying now? Oh, man, these are a deal. They'll really sell. Well, if I wanted to motivate Jeff to get these things sold, because I was not happy that we were buying all these princess rings, I just knew we'd have them forever. I'd say, you'll never sell them. Oh, yes, I will. Well, of course, with that competition on, he went out and sold them and had to remind me for years what a deal we got on those princess rings and how much money, because he would calculate in his brain every time we sold one. It was cha-ching, cha-ching. So anyways, but yes, we are deal-oriented. We at one point at Sharp Facets thought, we're not going to give any deal. We're just going to sell it. This is the bottom line price, meaning this is our lowest price. Take it or leave it. Well, that was a disaster, because all people thought when they came in the door, oh, that's your lowest price? Okay, what's my price? So even when we try to do things at a bottom low price, or be happy with whatever percentage of markup that you're happy with, the American public is not happy unless they see it as a deal. It's just like Black Friday deals. It's just like all these deals or it's a sale on this, it's a sale on that. Just think if the American economy didn't have to have a sale to get people to buy. I realize I'm off topic, but this is something that always was an issue. And it's all the little innuendos. Well, can you get free shipping? Well, can you get this? If you will remember, when Amazon first started, there was no free shipping, and they were not succeeding. And people were saying, why would I buy from Amazon or company XYZ when online shopping first started, if I can go to my local store and just pick it up and not have to pay for shipping? Well, that's when they came up with free shipping, because that was the gimme that made the difference. So back to the story on healthcare. We have an unresolved issue on the healthcare. They have to do something in the short term. In the long term, it needs a total overhaul. One of President Trump's ideas is to just give the money to the individuals and let them go on the open market and find their health care that seems to fit them. Would this change the focus? The money would not be able to be used for anything other than health care. Would it change the focus from health care that is where insurance companies are saying, whoa, we can make more money, the premiums, they're paying for it, just like in college loans and this type of thing. Colleges got more greedy because they saw the more they charged, the more grants and the more loans were coming into them. So they didn't have to be frugal in how they or charge for tuition on a bottom line basis. There's a lot of pushback on these type of things to change that. Personally, I think it would be a good thing. How they get there, though, I think is a totally different question. I will say, I think in the short term for this year, because this is like a careening into into a brick wall as to how people are going to be able to afford health care. So that's just one of my opinions here as far as how we are going to deal with this. I think so. Anyways, I think that is something that we need to really look at. I think the Democrats for this year, they do have a point. I agree. We cannot just keep throwing money at something. They've got to make a plan, and they've got to make it fast. And I guess my other point about our government is they knew this was an issue. Why did they not address it? Why did they not address it? September 30th, they were supposed to have a budget. I think we should remember the Republicans has said, oh yeah, we'll have a budget. But now they blame it on the Democrats because guess what? They put their foot down. They didn't get the job done. They didn't negotiate hard enough. They thought maybe it was a good point for them to take up and to try to assert their assertiveness. I think they also thought that the Republicans would cave, and of course they didn't. But the healthcare issue is a real issue. I'm hearing all kinds of horror stories on how much the costs are going to be. But I don't know what the answer is going to be. Under the compromise agreement, the Senate will hold a vote in mid-December on whether to extend the subsidies, which otherwise will expire January 1st. The vote is not expected to reach the 60-vote threshold needed for passage. The delay means health premiums in 2026 will be higher for millions of Americans unless lawmakers act separately. Republicans have said they prefer to address rising costs through health savings accounts and market-based reforms rather than to automatically renewing the ACA subsidies. So, see, that is exactly what we were talking about here. How will this be handled? Are the costs going to be more? If it does, if they do this, one has to wonder if they do not renew the subsidies and they do not come up with a plan to reduce costs. How will this affect the Republican standing in the upcoming elections in next November? How will that affect it? That's a question, isn't it? The food assistance is going to resume. The shutdown triggered a tangle of court orders and agencies' directives that left many states unsure whether they could issue full supplemental nutritional assistance programs. The reopening bill funds SNAP and the related Women's, Infants, and Children, the WIC program, through September 30th, 2026, so through next year, restoring normal operations and state administrative funding. Households in some states, such as Hawaii and New Jersey, have already received full monthly allocations, while others, including Nebraska and West Virginia, are still waiting. Full funding should normalize payments, but the catch-up could be uneven. Once the government reopens and the Department of Agriculture's issues updated SNAP guidance, states that issued only partial payments will make up the remainder, though the process could take some time. That's because of the variations in state systems. So there you go. That's another boggle point. Air travel will remain turbulent for several days even after reopening. They ordered airlines to cut up to 10% of flights on 40 major airports because of staffing shortages. More than 7,900 flights were canceled. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said this last week that the FAA will lift those restrictions as quickly as possible, but the agency will continue flight reductions until staffing stabilizes. You'll also know that they said 70% of the air traffic controllers will be paid in the next few days, and then I guess they will get the rest of their money. So Also, Trump had said that he would be in favor of paying a $10,000 bonus to all the air traffic controllers that stayed on the job. But I don't know whether that will actually go on. National parks and museums are expected to reopen gradually as furloughed workers return to employment and maintenance backlogs are cleared. Federal courts, immigration hearings, and regulatory enforcement will resume normal schedules after operating at limited capacity for a week. Small business housing and farm support programs such as Small Business Administration and Department of Agriculture, loans and Federal Housing Agency, mortgage processing will restart and begin clearing a backlog of applications and delayed grants. So that's kind of where all this is at. I think it was a travesty. I think that, yes, the Democrats did cause this. Yes, they did. They were the ones that walked out. They were the ones that would not come back to the table. And thank God for those 8 moderate Democrats who said we're not getting anywhere. You know, I don't know about you, but I really like Fetterman. He just says it the way it is. And he has no problems that he has a little bit different views, but he is for the people. And that's what I think is important. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. You are listening and watching WCRS this morning. Let's see what we've got. If we've got any other comments coming in here this morning. Here we go. What have we got? Check it out. Oh, yes. Okay. So we had a couple of people agree, a couple of claps here this morning. Well, all righty. Thank you. But it's just, what have we lost? We've lost common sense. We've lost a lot of common sense. And that, I think, is a travesty. All right. Now, let's talk about some of the things that are coming up that are happening right here in our area. Coming up this Friday, we are actually going to be down at the Inn on the Square. We'll be broadcasting live from the Inn on the Square. We'll be on Facebook Live. We'll be on the radio. And we're going to be talking to some of the people that are going to be here for the big meeting of the America 250 for South Carolina. That's a quarterly meeting that they have. It is going to be in Greenwood. So we are going to be down there broadcasting live. So that should start around 9 o'clock to around 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15. But that's what we're looking to do on Friday. That will be a very cool event. We also, so I hope you will tune in for that. I'm kind of excited about being out there and getting to see it firsthand. Coming up on Saturday, they are going to have a big powwow. Well, not really a powwow. They're going to have a gathering out there at the 96th National Park, and they're going to have reenactors. They're going to have all kinds of stuff going on to remember First Blood, which was the first battle here in South Carolina for the Revolution, was right here at the 96 historic site. They are going to have buses that take you back and to your cars. Please park in the high school parking lot. The bus will pick you up and take you over there. It's just a very short trip, but they wanted to keep the parking at the park available for people for handicap and those with disabilities. So you have to have a handicap sticker or tag in order to be able to park there. But I think that's logical and makes good sense. And they're not really set up for huge population to be there. So the weather is going to be great. So let's check out what else we have coming up on Friday. Friday is going to be the John McCravey 30-year celebration. That's right, 30-year anniversary, November 14th. That is Friday from 11:30 to 2. Come enjoy a free lunch, open house, gifts, and fellowship. I think they're going to have some door prizes. Fat Daddies will be serving up a free lunch from 11:30 to 2. So go by Fat Daddies and go by McCravy's office, which is between Applebee's and Zaxby's. So go by there and check that out. They would love to see you. 30 years is a long time, and he's got a lot more time he can put in too. So FYI, we'll see. He said they have served at their offices over 17,000 clients. That is a lot of clients. Anyways, that'll be going on. That's another good thing. Also on Friday, November 14th, they're going to have the unveiling of the MIA POW monument right there at the Veterans Center. This is going to be a complete the third and final phase of the plaza there at the Veterans Center. It'll be a beautiful, beautiful monument there. It's has benches and black granite, and it is so that we never forget those that were either MIA, missing in action, or prisoners of war, some who have never come home. I didn't realize, then I'm going to have to give this out, I didn't realize there is a whole agency that deals with nothing but recovering veterans' bodies. Every once in a while you'll hear of a body that has made it back to the family to give them closure. But there is a whole agency, and you literally, I don't remember the name of it, you literally can go on there and see what they are working on, what they have recovered. It is quite a process. The bones have to be identified, this type of thing, and then they send it back. We had one, a few months ago up there in Greenville, Greer, that area. So pretty darn cool. Also, I do want to say a big shout out to Sherry Biggs for her introducing that Major Howie is from Abbeville, who was instrumental in World War One, World War Two, World War One. Instrumental on helping with the troops and everything. See You in St. Louis is a great movie about this, and his body was carried by his people right there to the church. Everything was burning. It's a great, true story, but it goes to the human condition and the fortitude that someone is in charge, make sure that his troops carry on. And she has nominated him for a Congressional Gold Medal of Freedom, I believe, but a Congressional Gold Medal, and I think that is terrific. So that is a bill that she's put forth. I would say there would be no reason, but in today's world, who knows, but that is pretty darn cool. Also coming up, they are having an affordable spay and neuter clinic out there at the Humane Society here, open to all South Carolina and Georgia residents. If you want to get your pet spayed, though, spayed or neutered, you better call immediately. And I say that because those things fill up very, very fast. They're doing exams 10:30 to 11:30 and wellness checks 10:30 to 12:30, as well as surgery for spay and neuters for cats, dogs, and I don't see it on this one, but it had guinea pigs the last time. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. But anyways, that will be going on Tuesday, November 25th. You need to get in there, and you must make an appointment to be able to get these things done. And as I said, they do fill up very, very fast. So please do it. That's right. Here it is. Major Thomas D. Howie, the Major of St. Louis. And she introduced a bill to award him the Congressional Gold Medal. And he was, of course, a South Carolina native. If you're over there in Abbeville, you'll actually see a statue to him. And American hero, he gave his life leading from the front of St. Louis during World War II. So this is a bill she has introduced. Let's hope that it makes that through. All right, what else do we have? Yep, World War II Normandy invasion. Thank you very much. Yep, I just came across it. So that is a very, very cool honor that I hope that Congress should not have any problem approving, but in today's world, who knows? Who knows? All right. Do I have anything else I need to talk about today? We'll see. What else did we have? There's so many good things. I want to talk. I want to get some more information on the polar plunge that is coming up. That helps out there at the Burton Center. Well, helps children able to compete in Special Olympics. That is a big deal. That is coming up very soon. So we'll get more details. Maybe we'll get somebody on here to talk about the polar plunge. This is something done through the sheriff's office. I think it's really cool. It's done out there at Lake Greenwood. Also, the Connie Maxwell Christmas, December 4th through the 6th, 6 to 8:30 every night. So they have live nativity, a Christmas village, a concert series, and wagon rides. And I will tell you, if you drive over there right now, you're going to see a lot of work in progress. A lot of work in progress. So that's pretty darn cool to see all that. I know there's something else that I'm supposed to be talking about. Oh, I know. The concert for T. Graham Brown is tomorrow evening, Uptown Greenwood. He is a country artist. He's been around for years. I interviewed him 5, maybe 6 years ago. He's back here in town for a special concert on November 13th. It's at Uptown Greenwood. We'll get more details on that for exact times. I think they may have pushed it back a little bit because of the darkness that comes across our area. And Long Shadows, Granger Hines, Shelley Reed. It has gotten all kinds of good reviews out there, so they're doing really great. It will be here through tomorrow evening is the last evening it will be here in Greenwood. I have not had the opportunity to get out there and see it, but I hope you do, and you can tell me all about it. So, that's a few of the things that I know about that are happening. There are, of course, a whole lot more. But I got to get out of here. I got things to do, people to see, and we're getting ready to start our promotion for our Have a Heart toy drive that will be helping not only students at District 50, but we have expanded it because we have gotten so much outpouring and see the need that we are actually adding Ware Shoals to it too. So this year. So we're excited. There'll be details coming up on that as we prepare to do the giant toy drive right here at WCRS to help those in need. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being right here with me on the radio. Let's see, my thing is binging. What's binging out there? Bing, bing, bing. Have we got anything else? All right. Well, we agree. There should be no hesitation on pay. They did not hesitate, and they are no longer going to. Yes, okay. That's another message just talking about what we've been talking about here this morning. Hey, you know what? I love doing this show. I love the interaction. I love having you comment on what we're talking about, and I love being able to help people know about what's going on in our community. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because we're WCRS. We can remember stuff. And then some days, we can't remember stuff. So we cover all the bases. I hope you have a great day. That is the end of what Ann Eller is talking about this morning. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day. Get out there and enjoy the weather. I think it's supposed to get up to about 65. We're having a heat wave. Bye-bye, everybody.